Why do we go up there? Why would you climb Mont Blanc? Mont Blanc is not a difficult technical ascent, but it still remains a big committed ascent. Very rocky the first day at 2,300 meters. There's no trees, you have to push yourself. I mean, from here, if the conditions are good, there's no reason you don't reach the summit, but you have to believe in it. It's a concentrate of intense life. So it gives you such a nice feeling that it's almost incredible to describe without living it. Hi everybody, I'm gonna introduce myself a little bit more. I'm a French mountain guide from Chamonix. I'm born and grown up in the valley, so we can say I'm a local product. I like to define myself as a local product. And I'm a mountain guide for 24 years now, so we can say I'm an old mountain guide. I've been guiding everywhere, so obviously mostly in Chamonix because I'm based here and around. Chamonix, as you will see after, I will talk a little bit about the place. I've done lots of expedition all over the world, from North Pole, Greenland, to South Pole, Antarctica, from Himalaya, 1,000-meter peak, to Alaska, China, Mongolia. I've been to desert areas, well, lots of places. So that is to say that I'm, old mountain guide, experienced mountain guide, and I'm co-founder of Nuyama, which is the guiding company that we provide and offer outdoor trips in Chamonix and in other places too. Okay, so let's move to what we're going to do today. We're going to talk about Chamonix. So first of all, I'm going to do a little introduction about the place, why it's so famous, because it is famous. And also, we'll take this opportunity to get yourself into the mood of Chamonix, to give you a taste of the atmosphere. And then we'll move on to our main topic today, it's Mont Blanc. So it will be a little bit of history, but mainly technical and logistic things about the routes, how you climb it, why you should climb it, what are the things you need to be careful of. I'll give you my little guide tricks. And then at the end, we'll go on to more precisely onto the program we offer through 57 hours. So let's start by a video. I'm not going to tell you anything, but I'm going to just let you dive into my office. Okay, so it was just to take you in the mountains, in what we can live up there. It's also give you, I think, a little idea of why we go in the mountains and why we go climb them. A very famous mountaineer once said, why do we climb? Because they are there. But I think there's lots of things behind this. It was just a little introduction. Incredible video, by the way, made by the company they did. The picture you have in front of you is Mont Blanc, taken from a little summit below Dent du Géant. So this is the Italian face that you can see. So where are we? Where I am? I live right here in the corner between France, Switzerland, and Italy. Why it's important? We're right in the heart of the Alps, so there's many things we can do. Of course, above me it's Mont Blanc, but so we can climb it from the Italian side, not the Swiss side, because there's not Swiss, but there's many things around. The other things very specific to Chamonix, it's very accessible internationally. We have Geneva International Airport, 45 minutes to 1 hour by car from here. This is why Chamonix is so famous. So first thing, because there's lots of things above and around, and also because it's very accessible, so very convenient. Rather than other cities like Zermatt, for example, it's not that close to an international airport. This is a picture of Chamonix in winter, obviously, and the needles on top. So all the needles you saw on the video are those ones with the guys climbing on top. The last one you saw the people was this one, Aiguille du Plan. So you have here the Aiguille du Midi. It's a famous cable car. This is the other very specific particularity of Chamonix. We have cable cars that gives you access to the high mountains in less than 20 minutes. So you start from Chamonix and 1,000 meters. 20 minutes after, you're on top of Aiguille du Midi, 3,800 meters. And you can start walk on the glacier and climb some peaks everywhere. Okay? And Mont Blanc above here on the right. It's winter, there's lots of snow, there's lots of skiing possibility. Same picture, almost the same, taken in summer, just to show you the difference. So the Valley is like in every city. I mean, it's the summer, it's dry, it's nice. You can see the glaciers and the snow limit. So depends on the summers. If it's dry and warm, the snow limit can go a little bit higher or lower. But more or less, if you look at this picture, the snow stays at this line where I'm showing, okay? So above, there's always snow, and below, it depends on the summer, okay? Chamonix, we're going to talk about mountaineering and alpinism, but Chamonix offers incredible and endless possibilities of outdoors activity. I'm sure you guys have heard of UTMB, the famous trail running race around the Mont Blanc. So trail running, hiking. We are in a mountain city. There's lots of passes you can cycle up. There's lots of climbing. We go on glacier and we can do some ice climbing on glaciers. So, of course, today my main topic is going to be Mont Blanc. But I want you to keep in mind that even if Mont Blanc is like the icing on the cake and the highest summit, there's lots of other things to do, lots of other peaks, lots of other activities that related or not, that are great to do in Chamonix. And so accessible, many choices. And it's true that you can do that in the Valais, so in France, but you can, in 20 minutes drive, I'm in Italy, and I can do the same thing in Italy, but different culture, different people, different food, which is important, or also Switzerland. But of course, the main topic of today is mountaineering. You can see a picture of 3 different things we do when we talk about mountaineering and alpinism. Sometimes, if you are not familiar with it, you think, well, it's too hard, it's not for me, it's super steep, vertical, I'm scared. I've heard that so many times that, no, I go straight to it. This is not true. I mean, mountaineering is the art of climbing mountain. So, of course, you can climb the north face of Eiger, north face of Grand Joras, and it's very steep, it's very long, it's very difficult, it's very committed, and it can be dangerous. But you have also very easy stuff, like the picture, it's Aiguille du Tour. You can see it's easy rock scrambling above a glacier on the very nice granite. This is the perfect beginner summit, 3,500 meters, and it is really accessible. Keep that in mind because it's important after for the Mont Blanc and how we set up our program to maximize the chances of success on Mont Blanc. This almost the summit of Mont Blanc and is one of my clients up on a quite exposed ridge next to Aiguille Verte. Okay? Now that I've said that, a little bit of history, more for the fun and just because I think it's part of Chamonix also. Let's say this is the first ascent of Mont Blanc. I don't know if you guys know what it was, but it was in 1786. So I guess you can imagine how hard it was at this time. There were very few people living in the valley, and going up in the mountains were very, very challenging and bold. We can say the people going up there were very bold. It was dangerous. There was lots of accidents, but it was the beginning of a great period of the alpinists, because after Mont Blanc, there were more and more people coming. And that's also when the guiding profession as a job was created. Yeah, so this is summit of Mont Blanc in quite wild condition, and I'm the guy behind in the background. It was for a photo shoot where we were reproducing the first ascent. So it was made by Jacques Balma, who was the guide, the local guide, who was the first one, and I was the client. I was Michel Paccard in following the guide. You have another very nice picture. Same thing, it's right below the summit of Mont Blanc. It's interesting to know that at this time, the guides were local people, and they were hired by foreigners, mostly English or Swiss, and they were hired just to show the way. We were not at this time talking about any kind of safety, except showing the way. Okay, there's no rope, there's no harness, there's just everyone is fighting for his own life a little bit, and it evolved a little bit eventually and become a real job. And they were, as you can see on those pictures, I like to show them because they're funny. So it became a real activity for the local people. You can see on the left, they were taking people, literally taking people on the glacier that couldn't move, as you can see, by themselves, but they were paid to carry them up there. And the other one is more like, I like this picture because it's mountaineering has a lot to do with sharing, and sharing a good bottle of wine on top is really nice. At this time, it was, you can see it as a weird thing, but at this time, it was the only way to have some water that didn't freeze. It was to put alcohol in it. So that's why they were drinking wine. Okay, it was much more safer in a way. Okay. The guiding job was created in Chamonix in about this year. In 1921, it became official by the Kingdom of Sardes that was in Chamonix at this time. It started by creating the Compagnie des Guides de Chamonix in 1921. That's the official birth of the guiding community as a real job. And no, it's a little bit the same. Maybe there's no wine, or sometimes there's one, but we don't take pictures. No, I'm just kidding. So we do the same. We lead people, we show the way, but our main focus is, of course, first on safety. Our goal is to take you, if we are lucky, to the top safely and back down. If we're not lucky, we might not reach the top, but we'll get back safely. That's our main focus, okay? Keep that in mind for later when I'll talk about Mont Blanc. It's quite important. I will add that on top of this at Nuyama, and because it's my feeling, it's important that we leave a great experience with our clients. I mean, guiding in the mountains is not about taking someone up and down. We are roped, so we share responsibilities, we share safety matters. I mean, if you fall, otherwise, of course, I'm going to catch up and do everything that will keep us safe. But then it works also if I fall. I mean, I'm not supposed to, but it can happen. So this is really mutual matters and something we share. So for me, it's really important that mountaineering is about having a great experience, and summit success is like icing on the cake. We don't always get it, but we always have the most amazing experience. And that's what we can guarantee. Let's go to our main topic, Mont Blanc. This picture is taken from the east side of Mont Blanc. So it's the sunrise. It's the Italian side. It's much steeper. So the classic routes are mainly in France. So I'm going to describe what we call the normal routes, and the routes I would recommend that we use because it maximizes your chance of success. Maybe before getting into really the details and logistic, why do we go up there? Why would you climb Mont Blanc? That's a good question. I still wonder myself why, but what I can tell you is like what we live up there in the mountain is a concentrate of intense life. You will feel cold as you never felt outside your house. It's not the same feeling the wind on your face up higher in the mountains than outside. It's not the same feeling hungry. It's not the same fighting to get one step after each other to reach a summit. I mean, everything is more intense. Even what you share with your partner, with your guide or friends when you go up on the rope, while the question you ask yourself, everything is really intense. You're really focused. And I think this is my experience from my 24th years of guiding. When you're in the mountains, you're focused on every single thing you do right now. And everything else, you forget it. So it gives you such a nice feeling that it's almost incredible to describe without living it. And I think that will be, for me, the main focus, the main reason to go climb Mont Blanc and other summits, is to go take the step to try it. And you'll see, I mean, I've never seen anyone trying it and say, no, it's not nice. Maybe you won't like it, or maybe you will feel it's too risky or whatever, but then you will like it. I mean, the atmosphere, everything is just stunning. And Mont Blanc, of course, is the highest peak of EU. So it's like Everest. I mean, it rises above everything, and it's an incredible challenge. Physically, it is a challenge, definitely. Technically, it's quite accessible, even if it's not the easiest thing you can do. And yeah, all of that makes it quite an incredible summit. And so, quickly, on the right, you have the pink route. This is called Voie Royale. This one is quite technical. Forget about this one. You have the historical route, which is the red one, okay, on your left, Les Grands Mulets. So it's not exactly the historical, it was a little bit different, but basically it's where they first climbed Mont Blanc. It's also the route that we still use when you want to climb and ski Mont Blanc. So in the springtime. In summer, usually it's too dry, it's a little bit complicated. Even if it's early, if you try it early in the summer, it can worth it. But usually, no. The yellow one is called the Fremont route. So you start from Aiguille du Midi, somewhere over there, and then you go up Mont Blanc du Tacul, up Mont Blanc du Montmaudit, and then Mont Blanc. This one used to be very popular. It still can be popular, but it depends on the condition of the glaciers. And the past 5-10 years, it has become quite harder, steeper. And some years it was so icy that we just didn't go. And it becomes more technical nowadays, okay? So that's why, at the end, what we recommend is to try the normal route, which is the green one in front of you, that we also call the Gouter route, because it climbs this needle here, where you can, when the route does that, it's called Aiguille du Gouter. Aiguille du Gouter Gouter in France mean snack in the afternoon, 4 o'clock, 4 p.m., it's snack time. So it's because the sun is behind this needle. When you are in the valley, the sun is behind at 4 o'clock. So it's Aiguille du Gouter, it's time to have a snack. Okay, so Gouter route. You have the valleys on this map, you have the valley on the left. So there's obviously many options to many routes, okay? I'm going to focus on the normal one. The other thing is you can climb the route in 2 days, in 3 days, in 4 days, in 5 days, depends what you want to do, how you plan it. I don't know if you know the record, Chamonix, top of Mont Blanc, Chamonix church, 4 hours, 37 minutes. It's also doable in 1 day. So as you can see, in a couple hours, it's Kilian Jornet, of course. So what my purpose is to say, I'm going to describe it in 3 days, which is today the usual and classic way to climb Mont Blanc. So you start in Les Ouches, where I am right now, in a little village next to Chamonix. We start by a cable car, and then at top of the cable car in Bellevue, we catch a train, the Tramway du Mont Blanc, that takes us to Nidaigle. Nidaigle is the end of the train. There's a hut, but we don't stop at this hut. We start hiking from the train, and we hike on day one to Refuge de Tête Rousse. From Refuge de Tête Rousse, we climb Aiguille du Gouter, and then here on top of Aiguille du Gouter, there's also Refuge du Gouter. But if you climb it in 3 days, you don't stop here. You go straight to the top and go back to Refuge du Gouter to sleep. And day 3, you walk down. So when we go more in details, That's how it looks like. So the end of the train is here. Day one is really easy. It's hiking, okay? It's 3 hours. You take your time. There's no rush. The purpose is to get in time for dinner at the refuge, okay? The refuge, the Tétrousse is the picture on the left. Here's you have a picture of the train. Funny fact about this train, they are working on it right now. So they are changing the end, but it used to stop right in the slope like this. When they first built the train, the project was to go to the top of Mont Blanc. Obviously, they wouldn't anyway make it, but they stopped the construction during First World War, and then they never start again. So the train stopped really like this. It's quite funny. As I said, hiking day. Right picture, you can see it's a trail in the rocks. It's very rocky the first day. There's no trees. It's really rocky. The train stops at 2,300 meters and the height is 3,200. So it's almost 1,000 meters of denivellation. The picture is taken in late summer, so it's all dry. There's no more snow, a little bit on the left picture. But if you go early in the season, by the way, I didn't say it, but I think the season starts from June to September. So let's say you go early June, there will be maybe lots of snow. And you can walk in the snow from the train. Okay, it dries up during the summer. So that's day one. And then we sleep at the hut, at Tétrousse hut, so this hut. And then day two is the big day. It's the summit day. We will start quite early. So it depends on the condition. It depends on the weather forecast and how fast you guys go. But usually we start between 1 a.m. and 5 a.m. We start by night. We will climb the Gouter needle, okay, which is approximately 800 meters denivellation. We will pass by the Gouter hut, the picture on your left, and then we will follow and climb Dôme du Gouter, which is the first round summit below Mont Blanc, and then we will get to the final ridge that we call Arete des Bosses to reach the top of Mont Blanc. So this day is definitely the most difficult day, for two reasons. The first reason is because the first part, the ascent of the Gouter, is the most technical part. I will describe it after. And then it's also because it's the longest day. Obviously, you do almost 2,000 meters of denivellation and 1,000 down. It's the big day. There's the altitude, which is quite something to deal with. It can be windy, it's going to be cold. There's many things. We are up in high altitude. It's not the Himalayas, but for us in the Alps, it's high altitude. And so it's the difficult day. You'll go back down and sleep at the Gouter hut. And then the next morning, you'll go down all the way down to Tétrousse and then back to the train, which goes pretty quickly. Some pictures of the first part, so the Gouter ascent. I'm sure you guys have heard of it, and not for good reason, because it's called the most difficult part, and it's also where we have the most accident. Okay, so the Gouter ascent is technically the most difficult part of the Mont Blanc ascent, but it's not difficult. You'll see pictures later. It's easy rock scrambling, but it's very loose rock. That's the main problem of this part of the ascent. The rock is incredibly loose. Tétrousse hut is somewhere on the left, and you follow the orange path. So we go up, and then you can see this big couloir is called the Couloir du Gouter, which is quite obvious, but it's also famous as the death couloir, Couloir de la Mort, because it takes all the rockfall. Since the rock is very loose, if you have a rockfall starting from the top, it will obviously go in the couloir. And you need to traverse the couloir at the beginning. So this part is, yes, that's true. It's the most dangerous part. Doesn't mean we don't go there, okay, or we try to avoid it because there's no way to avoid it. It means we will go and traverse it in good condition. And then after we go on this secondary ridge, where the rock is a little bit loose, but again, it's easy. There's some wires. There's nothing complicated. So this is taken from almost the top of the Aiguille du Gouter, looking down. If you take the left picture, the Tétrousse hut, so the hut of the day one is here. So you see up, you can see the track going up here, and that's where we cross the couloir. You can guess the couloir here. And you can see the upper section is snowy, so you have crampons on. And on the right, by the way, just a quick note, it's my 2 kids. I took them 2 years ago to climb Mont Blanc, late August. They were 13, almost 13 and 14 and a half. So you see, even kids can do it if they are well prepared. This is how it looks like. Next picture. So the famous Couloir. I think it's important that I tell you how it is because you heard of it. And yes, that's true. It's a dangerous area in dry condition. I took 3 different pictures showing you different conditions. Mountaineering is always like this. And in the mountains, it's always up to the condition. You can take the same place in different condition. It can be super easy and you think, what's wrong with it? And you can go in bad condition and you will be, no, it's impossible to go, it's not safe. And it's the same place. The Couloir, it's the same thing. You take the bottom right picture, it's snowy, there's a big track. You can see there's no track of rockfall in the snow. I mean, it's pretty safe. There's no big deal. I mean, if you don't fall out of the track, then it's fine. So this is mainly in the early season. In the middle of the season, it's a mix of snow. The top right picture, you can see it's a mix of snow, a little bit of rock and ice. And at this time, you start to make sure you will cross the Couloir in good condition, which means for us as professional and people who knows, like in cold condition, you want to cross the Couloir when temperature are still cold. Like this, you avoid the risk of big rockfall. And then the picture on the left is when it's totally dry. So there's no snow. I mean, you walk, it's almost like a trail. But you can obviously guess that if a little rock starts falling from here, it will go down here on you. So when you traverse this part, you try to be quick. You try to make sure you don't fall because there's quite a big couloir on your right. You try to be quick, but not too fast. There's a big difference, not too fast. You cross it. And then once you're on this side, then it's much safer. We are roped. As soon as from Refuge de Tête-Rousse, we are all roped. So I just want to add also that you climb with your guide, okay? So the guide will tell you when to cross, if it's safe to cross, how to do and how to manage it safely. So trust him because he's with you. So if it's not safe, if there's any kind of risk of taking a big rock on your face or on you, I mean, it's the same risk that the guide will take with you. Okay, we are together on it. So keep in mind that if it's not safe, then we will tell you because we take the same risk. That's the Gouter Couloir, and I think that's the most famous part of the ascent for not good reason. And I think it's no good to move for some maybe nicer picture and to show you what Mont Blanc is famous for. Quickly, that's a picture of Tête-Rousse hut in snowy conditions, so June probably. So it's not as dry on the other pictures. This is again ascent of the Gouter. So Couloir, you can see the Couloir. So here, it's still my 2 kids on the picture. It is quite dry. It's very dry even. There's no snow. So we climbed up without crampons. So it was honestly very easy. And it was late August. So late August, I mean, this face is west facing. So as soon as you get in the afternoon, it takes the sun. And that's where it could be tricky when it warms up because the rockfall start when it's warmer. But then at the second part of the summer, so after, I would say, August 20th, temperature drops down. And even if you're under the sun, it can be very dry, but very safe also. Again, Gouter ascent. So you see, it's easy, rocks crumbling. It's not even a grade. I mean, if you guys, some of you know the rock climbing grade, it's impossible to give you. It's like 5-4, okay? It's easy scrambling. There's nothing difficult. It's trickier on the way down. But I mean, it's easy. There's some wires, there's some equipments at some point, so there's no big deal. So here, the picture on the left, my 2 kids on top of Aiguille du Gouter. So it's after we've finished with the most technical part, and we get to a snowy ridge. You can see in the background the Gouter hut. With my kids, I did it in 2 days. So that means we climbed all the way to Gouter in 1 day, slept at the Gouter hut, and then climbed Mont Blanc, and then all the way back down, okay? If you do it in 3 days, you arrive at Gouter early in the morning. So you can stop by, leave some equipment that you don't need, water, food, I don't know. You can get a coffee and then you leave what you have to leave at the Gouter, the hut, and then you climb Dôme du Gouter and you keep going. So when you keep going, you climb Dôme du Gouter. So Dôme du Gouter, at this point, you start dealing with altitude. Refuge du Gouter, so Gouter Hut is at 3,800 meters. With Dôme du Gouter, the big round summit, is at 4,300. Easy walking. It's quite a long, easy slope. I mean, there's nothing particular. You can see on the right picture, nothing special, okay? It doesn't go quickly, but it goes well. This is the same picture when we started from Gouter at night, because when you do it in 2 days, so you start from Gouter at 3 p.m. From Dôme du Gouter, it's a big round summit. Then you go down a little bit. There's a huge flat part. This is the picture on the left. This place is very tricky if you get caught in the bad weather. And then you're gonna pass by here. You can see it. It's this little square thing is the hut on the right picture. It's called Abri Vallot or Observatory Vallot. It's scientific observatory that was built on the last piece of rock going up Mont Blanc. There was 2 scientists fighting to study things on top of Mont Blanc. One called Janssen set up a little shelter on top of Mont Blanc that obviously, because it was on the ice, didn't stay one winter. It was broken by the glacier and collapsed. And Vallot built his observatory on this little piece of rock, and it's still there. So the right picture is the shelter. It's it's shelter, so that means it's just a box where it was designed and was built just to go there in case of bad weather, in case of problem. But it's not a hut. We don't sleep there because there's nothing. In case of trouble, you can, but there is nothing. The Vallot is 4,300 meters. And then the route goes all the way up the Arete des Bosses, which means bumpy ridge, because there's 3 big bumps, and the last one is top of Mont Blanc. The last part, so this is from Vallot all the way to Mont Blanc, is the most difficult part physically, because you're getting tired, because it's the end, because it's high. You can feel the altitude. And yes, this is mentally... Yeah, you have to push yourself. I mean, from here, if the conditions are good, there's no reason you don't reach the summit, but you have to believe in it. So this is a picture of my 2 boys. We made a stop in the shelter in the Vallot because when we climbed it, it was very cold, a little bit windy. So we went inside, get changed, put some warmer clothes, get a drink, and then went back on again. This is a little video of how it looks like on the ridge. So this is so it's above Vallot. There's the first bump, we call it. So the video is, it's this. This is taken a little bit above. So the video was taken a little bit above the light that you can see here. The Vallot shelter is here on this rock. And those are my boys below the summit. You can see the lights of the valley under the clouds over there. And Dôme du Gouter is this bit. Okay, this is same picture almost, but taking towards the summit. You can see the first part is going up, the first bump, and really the route follows the ridge all the way up. So of course we avoid crevasse and we go through it. The route really follows up and down the ridge. That's Arete des Bosses. Same thing, we are closer to the summit. The summit is over there. You can see the snow blowing from it. At this moment, it's a little bit hard because you're tired. And you always think, because at the end it goes like this, and you always think the summit is there, and the summit is there. And no, it's always a bump, and then there's another one. So it's a little bit tricky, but then in early morning, you have the sun. You get the first, we are the first on Mont Blanc because it's the highest to get the sun. And it's really warm, really warm. It makes you feel really warm, much warmer. It's really nice. The view is just stunning, and it's emotional. And then we get to almost closer to the summit. So there's this is my 2 boys again. The last step on the final ridge. Yeah, they were happy. It was really cold. So the last part gets to a ridge, okay, and then the ridge widens, and the summit that you see over there at the end is it's wide. I mean, there's some room. So The picture on your right here, it's going up. Okay, so the summit is behind me, and the left picture is the opposite. So the two guys are already at the summit. You can see on the right picture, you can see the shade of Mont Blanc when the sun rises. Okay, in the morning, the sun wakes up from there, so it makes a big shade in the valley that we can see from the top. Incredible. And those are pictures of the summit. Very nice pictures. You can see it's quite wide. I mean, the summit is not, it's not like a point. It's wide. There's quite some room. So it depends on the condition. You can stay a little bit. To say that it's pretty rare that you get to the top without wind, without being cold. So since you're walking for a couple hours, you're tired. So as soon as you stop, you get cold. So usually, even if you want to stay and you would like to stay more and enjoy the view, well, it's a 10-15 minute break and we take a drink, we congratulate and make some pictures, enjoy the view, and then we have to turn around and go back down to the hut. One little funny fact, 2 years ago, a couple that I took to Mont Blanc, it was a very tricky day because it was very windy. So when we did it, because the condition the weather forecast was pretty bad, so we did it straight from the train. So we started from the train, went up to Gouter. We stopped at the Gouter hut. We had a drink, something to eat, and then I took the weather forecast. And the weather forecast for the next day, when we were supposed to climb, was very bad, very windy. They were strong people. I told them, I think tomorrow it's not going to work. It's going to be too windy. The forecast was like 100 kilometer per hour at 4,000 meters. And I told them, might be a window this afternoon, so we could try this afternoon. And they said, okay, but let's go. We left in the afternoon and went up to the top with quite windy condition. But it was an incredible moment because the guy proposed his girlfriend, on the summit of Mont Blanc. So it was, it was really emotional and was really happy to be able to share that with them. That's a short video of the summit, what you can see from the summit. So left side, so this side, we can see Chamonix all the way down. And then we go back to Saint-Gervais. Okay, but that's the couple that the guy proposed. This side, well, you can't see much, but this is Italy. We are going down to Italy, Courmayeur, and then back to France. One thing I'd like you to remember is Mont Blanc is not a difficult technical ascent. It's not. But it still remains a big committed ascent. Meaning that Mont Blanc is not an easy summit. No, it's not. I'm sorry if you guys thought that. It's not. It's technically easy. It's accessible, but it's not easy to climb it. And every single people that will tell you it's easy, it's because they have forgotten the bad and the pain from it. And mountaineering is usually about that, okay? We sometimes, when we climb, and I'm really honest with that, we are like, what the hell I'm doing here? Why am I doing this? Why? And the question comes, and the answer, comes a few hours later when it's over, or a few days later when you have done it and you climb it, and it's a reward to feel that you have pushed yourself and you have done it, and it was hard, yes, but this is forgotten, and you just remember the great thing. So I think it's important because the first on the logistic, just weather and condition. And for me, this is something very important to share. We never, and I cannot tell you, I will take you to Mont Blanc. It doesn't work like this. If you sign up for a trip to climb Mont Blanc with me, I will not take you up there for sure. This is not possible. Climbing a mountain is up to the weather, up to the condition of the mountain. So take it as when we get to a summit, when we have this chance of succeeding, it's so great, but it's because the mountain let us. We do everything possible. We train, we try to look at the weather, and we organize everything to have the maximum chance of success. But then at the end, the mountain decide. Always. Whatever you do, Mont Blanc, Everest, K2, Easy Summit, this is the mountain. So this is why it's also important to make sure you want to share it with some friends, and you want to have a great experience, because even if you don't reach the summit, it will be a great experience. And sometimes not reaching the summit is even a better experience than reaching. Two first point on my slide. We cannot control that. When we have to accept this is the rule of alpinism, and this is how it works, and this is why it's so famous, and this is why also we like it, because it's never sure. It's not like I'm gonna play tennis. Yes, go and play tennis. That's gonna work. But climbing Mont Blanc, it's never sure. And then the other 2 points, acclimatization and fitness, you can control it. Fitness, it's about training, it's about getting ready. And climbing Mont Blanc is not about being the fastest, and I'm not asking you to be able to run 3 marathons in less than 2 hours, okay? It's not about that. But definitely the summit day, you're going to walk in altitude for 8 to 12 hours. That's how it's going to be. So you need to be able to do it. You need to be trying to do that. It's important because sometimes I've tried to climb the summit with some people doing lots of sports, but like very intense and short sports, like squash, tennis sometimes, these kind of things. And they were not trained to walk for hours, not very fast, but you have to keep on going. That's the main thing. And acclimatization is really, really important. We are, unfortunately, all of us different. We all react different. And it's not because we have been once in altitude that we won't get sick another time. So this is something very tricky. And this is, I would say, if you put on the side the weather problem, acclimatization is the main reason of failure. It's people coming to Paris, they live at 0 or 300 meters, and they come, the next day they sleep at the Gouter hut, they're sick. So this is why you'll see later, our trip is designed to avoid that. Quickly, the booking, so the periods June to September, I would avoid the warmest part of the summer, beginning of August, mid-August. Sometimes if it's a warm summer, it gets complicated at the Couloir du Gouter. But otherwise, it's this. The other thing is like book as early as you can, because the problem is to get spots at the huts. It's so popular. The good thing is that there's many other things to do. So if Mont Blanc doesn't work, you can go ice climbing on the glacier. You can do this one. It's called Fret des Charmeaux. This one is called Aiguille de Bionnassay. So there's many other things you can do, and it could be one step before maybe pushing to Mont Blanc. Those pictures are stuff we did. So the one on the left is Aiguille du Tour with my boys. The one on the right is Aiguille Crochue with the Mont Blanc behind. 2 beginners. So you see, it's easy rock climbing, but it's how you get used to and ready to climb Mont Blanc. The one on after with the 3 boys, it's a summit in Switzerland called Pollux, between Zermatt and Italy in Cervinia. The last one on the right, where you can see the people almost flying in front of Mont Blanc, it's a Via Ferrata above Chamonix. It's just to show you there's many things to do, okay? So even if Mont Blanc doesn't work, or because of weather, or because there's many other options, it's important to have that in mind. Quickly, above our 7-day program. So the program is designed to 3 things. First, of course, the goal is Mont Blanc, okay? So to put you in the best condition to climb Mont Blanc, but you have to train before. But that means you will get on day 1 used to the equipment and how to walk with crampons, because the less things you have to worry about when you climb Mont Blanc, the more energy you have to focus on your fitness and to go up. I've been climbing 8,000 meters. I saw people fighting to put their crampons on. If you lose energy in altitude, it's wasted. And so you won't have this energy to reach the summit. And that's also true for Mont Blanc. So day 1, it's mer de glace, and we'll do some fun stuff as this, for example. So this is ice climbing on the Mer de Glace glacier. So we go down in a crevasse, or in a what we call moulin, so where the water digs some holes, and we go and climbing. Of course, you don't need to do that to climb Mont Blanc, but it's just fun to try, and it gives you confidence with your crampons and the ice axe. Day 2 and 3, we will go climb another training peak, which is already a 4,000 meter peak in Italy. It's called Gran Paradiso. It's more or less a little Mont Blanc. When I say little, it's not smaller. It's same kind of, physically, it's very similar. And it will give you a very good idea of what's going to be Mont Blanc. And you will sleep one night in a hut at almost 3,000 meters, and we will reach 4,000 meters. That will give you acclimatization. That will show you, tell your body, hey guy, you will have to work with the altitude. Day one on Gran Paradiso is we're going to go to the hut. So Chabot, it's a hike to the hut, 900 meters, 2-3 hours, easy. Day two, we start from the hut. We go all the way up to Gran Paradiso. So the green, I think this day, this is a GPS track, and I think this day the weather was bad and I had to turn around a little bit below the summit. But anyway, the summit is there, and then we go all the way back down. You have a picture of the summit on your right with the Virgin. Gran Paradiso is the only 4,000 meter peak entirely in Italy. This is a picture of how it looks like. The hut, the Chabot hut is somewhere over there. And this is Mont Blanc, view from the south, so Italian face. So glacier walk. The only technical and a little bit impressive thing is the final ridge. So we come from the glacier like this, and then we follow the ridge, which is a little bit rocky at the end, but it's really nice. So that's again a picture of the summit with the Madonna, and that's a little video of how it looks like from the top. So it's a very popular summit. There's nothing, technically it's very easier than Mont Blanc, and it gives you a good idea of what it's going to be. Okay, again, the picture. This picture is to show you why we use the rope on the glacier, because we walk on crevasses, and you can see this one was pretty thin. It was kind of, whoa. And in case the snow bridge, this part, we call it a snow bridge, it breaks, then we are roped in, and so we don't go all the way down, and it's easier to get you out. Okay, then day 4, it's a rest day, usually, on our program. I say usually because there's different options. Either you're super strong and you want to do something, then it's possible, and we add extra activities. It's a rest day, you rest and it's fine. Or the weather, the condition makes it say that it would be good to use it to go straight to Mont Blanc. Okay, but then let's say theoretically it's a rest day, and day 5, 6, 7 it's Mont Blanc ascent in 3 days. For me, it's important that you go back down with a great experience, whether you reach the summit or not. And this comes by sharing it with people you want. Already the huts are pretty booked, so if you want to, then yeah, hurry up. And last word, I would say, come. Either it's to climb Mont Blanc or some other peaks. You will never regret it. So yeah, please try.